Tonight at 8:30, it's the Heat and Nuggets. The NBA lives on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
It is the Blitz here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. He is Joe Reinagel. I'm Jay Semenix. The UTSA Roadrunners announced some big things happening over there on campus, some big projects that they've been talking about for a long time coming together over there, $57 million in facilities that they're about to invest. Let's talk about it with UTSA Athletic Director, Dr. Lisa Campos, joining us now on the Buyers Barricades guest line. Dr. Campos, appreciate you taking the time on this Thursday afternoon.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
So I know we've heard about these practice facilities before for basketball and volleyball. So that was about, $35 million as I'm reading through this. The other facilities that are coming along, you guys have been busy over there.
We sure have been. We've been talking about the basketball, volleyball practice facility for about 2 years, and we just got it passed through the board, and we're going to get shovel and ground. I'm optimistic by the end of this year. My facilities folks telling me wait till January 2025, but we know that a shovel is definitely going into the ground. And then we have some other dollars to invest in some other of our priority projects.
Dr. Campos, good to talk to you again. And I'm glad to see that some of this stuff is moving forward. And it's obviously, as you know, it's needed. You guys have worked hard for this. How tough is it not to move at lightning speed with stuff like this? Be patient until all the ducks are in a row.
Yeah, patience is not a strength of mine. So it has been a bit challenging, but I understand the process. I understand, we got to get the funding, we got to get board approval, we got to go through the design phase, all of those things that go into it. But at the end of the day, we know that yesterday's announcement is really moving us in the right direction, and it's moving us in a direction to get shovels in the ground.
And when you talk about practice facilities for basketball and for volleyball, everybody asks the same question. What about the Convocation Center? When are we going to get a new actual game arena?
Yeah, everyone is very interested in that. And of course, that's more of a longer range plan. We know that right now our training facilities are really paramount. We hear it from our coaches all the time. We hear it from our student athletes, from our prospective student athletes, that they want to know, when can I train any time of the day? How do I have access to training facilities to master my craft? And that's, whether it's practicing free throws or the 3-point line or whatever it is, that they want unlimited access to a training facility. So that's why we focused really on player development areas. And, the Convocation Center, it's a great place to play. It has great bones, but that is obviously, something in the long run that we got to pay attention to.
Lisa, when you talk to student athletes and is that something that's important to them? Do they tell you that, or you share with them the plans that you have and they say, well, that's great, and that's maybe the final straw to going to UTSA or Texas State?
Yeah, absolutely. Facilities, since I got here 6 years ago, we heard it very loud and clear from student athletes and from coaches: facilities, facilities, facilities. Now, obviously, that was before NIL. So I'm sure if we surveyed the students and the coaches now, NIL and facilities would both be the most pressing priorities. But we just heard it from day one that we have to focus on facilities. And, I think in that announcement we talked about, in the last 5 years, we've invested $63 million in facilities. The race building I'm sitting in today, Park West, some of the other minor renovations we've done to all of our facilities. So we're really proud that in the last 5 years, every one of our sport programs has had some sort of renovation done to their current facility. Now it's that next step of those player development areas.
UTSA Athletic Director Dr. Lisa Campos joining us here on the Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. So we've got the basketball and volleyball practice facility that soon will have shovels in ground. I like that term. We know when we talk with Jeff Traylor a lot during the football season, getting some sort of indoor facility is a priority for him. Where do we stand on that for Coach Traylor?
Yeah, absolutely. We actually were joking via text earlier today. Is it indoor or is it a pavilion? I think he says indoor because he can't say pavilion. Like he can't pronounce vehicle. Or maybe it is really his internal dream of indoor. But we've always talked about this pavilion, right? We built it in to phase one of race. COVID hit; it didn't quite happen, but that's still a huge priority for us is to have some sort of covered structure. And then the other thing is we talk about indoor. We've also looked at a bubble. A lot of institutions, a lot of sport programs, football programs practice in a bubble, and that's another thing that we're going to continue to explore. But it is a priority, and we're going to continue to figure out how to make that a reality.
Lisa, I mean, a big part of your job is overseeing the athletic department, obviously, but when you're talking about money and raising money and getting money for these facilities, how difficult of a job is that?
Oh my goodness. You know what? It's something we focus on every single day. I feel like majority of my time is spent on how do we find the revenue sources to put into these facilities. And, even this plan of the 57 million, it's still going to take fundraising, right? We're going to finance some of this, which means that we still have to fundraise. And in order to do all of the projects that we want to do, there's going to be major fundraising. And again, I'm so appreciative of the university. They have supported this in a big time way. The county, the city have supported this, and our community continues to support this. So we're still going to be knocking on doors and asking for donations for these facilities.
With that in mind, I'll circle back on Pavilion in a moment. With that, with the and forgive me for not remembering the exact term, but I know that you guys went to the students to raise the athletic fees, and they voted that down. Are these the projects that would have helped speed those along, and you were able to find the money somewhere else, or is this all right? We didn't get that passed, but we figured out other ways to get these same facilities done in short order.
Yeah, the student fee was more about our operational dollars, right? Our operational budget. That we're still competing with programs, going into the American, we're competing with programs that have 70, $80 million budgets. For the first time ever, we've hit about a $50 million budget. So that student fee was really more about supporting the entire athletics program, particularly the operating budget. So sort of separate budgets. You got your operations, the day to day, what it takes to fulfill this, our mission of giving our student athletes and our community a great experience. And then you got your other bucket of facilities. And so these were two parallel paths. The student fee was really more about our day-to-day operations.
Interesting. Lisa, I've got to ask you this because we haven't had a chance to talk to you since the football season ended. But when you hear Jeff Traylor's name mentioned for just about every opening across the country, how scary is that for you?
Well, if anyone's seen, do a comparison picture of me 6 years ago to today, I think I've got a few more gray hairs because of Coach Traylor. But no, in all seriousness, it's flattering. It just demonstrates what he has done for this football program, for this athletics program, for the university, for the city of San Antonio, that it's really flattering. And we know we'd rather be talking about this, right, than the other alternative of no one wanting our coach. That it's just a testament to what he's done and how highly thought of he is. And we're just really lucky to have him as our head coach.
Absolutely.
No
And
doubt.
and we got to teach him how to say pavilion. I remember when he was trying to make the Ansira commercial and he couldn't say vehicle. What other words can Jeff not say?
Well, let's work on pavilion.
All right, so we'll go pavilion. And as I think of pavilion, there's no walls. It's covered, so if it's raining, you could still be out there. But if the wind is blowing, it could still be cold. So I think maybe Jeff Traylor's just trying to instill indoor in you that he wants walls. When you explore a bubble, and
I think you're right.
well, yeah, because he likes to wear shorts to work, and if it's windy and cold, that's uncomfortable. You just might not get wet. See, I think he really wants indoor, not pavilion. But you say a bubble, and I think about a lot of facilities, like Houston Texans. I've been in their bubble before. There are some high schools that have bubbles. I don't know the expense of bubbles versus a pavilion, but knucklehead question, but are practice bubbles overly expensive?
Yeah, ironically, from a one-time cost perspective, it would be less expensive than building a pavilion. But then the bubbles, they require more maintenance. You're heating it, you're cooling it. But again, at the end of the day, our our goal is to protect our student athletes from the elements, and Coach Traylor. I better we want to protect him from the elements.
No doubt. Plus, bubbles look cool, Lisa. I mean, you see that out there in a bubble. It's cool looking.
Think of all the advertising you could put on that.
Right.
To help raise money.
That's right. Yeah. So, again, we're going to continue to keep our options open. Tomorrow, if someone gave us a $10 million check, we can. That would make it easy to figure out which direction we go in. But we're going to, again, continue to fundraise and to explore all these parallel paths of getting, whether it's a pavilion, an indoor, or a bubble for Jeff and the team.
Yeah. He wants walls. I think that's the bottom line. He wants walls. Lisa Campos joining us here on the Blitz. Speaking of Jeff Traylor and that football program, the schedule for next football season got released today. I don't know if you've had a chance to visit with Coach Traylor about this, but when I look at this schedule, I see double-digit wins on this schedule.
Coach and I talk a lot about the schedule. He loves to temper expectations. I'm not a kind of AD who puts a number on a season for our coaches. They put enough pressure on themselves. But I'm with you. My money's always going to be on Jeff Traylor, and we can do some really great things this year.
Lisa, does it ever, and not that we're here to over glorify Jeff Traylor, but we love the guy. I know you love him. San Antonio loves the guy too. But with the NIL issues that UTSA has, obviously it's a struggle, and I know it's a struggle for a lot of schools. But the fact that he still gets top-notch students here, football players here, is a testament to him that they want to come play for him still, and that still matters. Do you see that?
Absolutely, and not even getting top-notch players, but retaining his current roster. I mean, when you look across the country, he is just the best at retaining his current roster. The guys love playing for him. They love the culture. They love San Antonio. They love the support that they get from our great city. And a lot of credit, to April and to Martin and to Bob, that they are working their tails off out there, raising NIL dollars for our student athletes. And we're so appreciative of that. But Jeff creates a really special culture for these guys. And so to your point, he can recruit, his staff can recruit, but they can also retain.
Absolutely. And getting it done. And again, you guys have done, it's crazy to think when you got here where this program was. I think about where it was right before you got here, but the quick rise, and now in the American, the expectations, the facilities, the money that's been coming in, and then the expectation, which leads me to a question that probably isn't one you want to talk about right now, Dr. Campos, but you look at that men's basketball program, and I know Coach Henson last year, you didn't extend him, so we spent a lot of time talking about Mike McCarthy in the final year of his contract being a lame duck coach. This basketball team, 10-19 on the year, although coming off of a nice win. What's the future for men's basketball at UTSA?
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to our men's program, despite the record. I mean, you can tell these students, these athletes are just playing their hearts out. There's no one who wants to win more than the coaches, more than the student athletes. And, they've just hung tight with a lot of these programs that have been top 25 and taken Memphis and FAU to overtime and beating North Texas. And so there's no quit in their fight right now. So I'm just really proud of how they've continued to fight. And who knows, maybe they make a run in the tournament. But, as I tell, everyone, I evaluate throughout the season, throughout the years, and final evaluations all through until the season's over. And then that's when Coach and I will have conversations.
In your job description, Lisa, it's got to be that one you'd probably like to X out, wouldn't you? I mean, having to make decisions on coaches and whether to retain or whether to let go.
We're such a close family here in our department, and anytime there's change, that's always hard because this is a people business, and we build great relationships, and we're really close with one another. And, it just has an effect, a rippling effect, whether it's on families, whether it's on student athletes. So it's never easy to make change. And if it is, then I would question someone's heart.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But In the position you're in, tough decisions have to be made. That's
Yeah.
the bottom line. And, whether you're talking about a coach's job or you're figuring out where to apply some of the money that's coming in for what facility and having to prioritize them, because I imagine every coach thinks they should be the top priority, right?
Absolutely. I love that you recognize, yes, every day there's tough decisions to be made in this seat. But you know what? On the other side of that is we just have a lot of fun supporting our coaches, supporting our student athletes, winning championships, watching them compete. So that I'll never complain about that. This is one of the best jobs in America.
Dr. Lisa Campos, Athletic Director at UTSA. I know you have an extremely busy schedule. Appreciate you taking some time with us this afternoon.
Hey, I appreciate the time. Thanks so much.
Appreciate it. Lisa Campos on the Buyers Barricades guest line, where they provide traffic control, rental, and sales for San Antonio and beyond, online at buyersbarricades.com.